Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is the Gentleman's Debate podcast. It is
this episode 20?
It is episode 20.
We made it!
Yes, 20 episodes, 20 weeks-ish. It's myself, Simon. We've got the lovely Sam.
Hello.
We'll be having a nice chat. Miki's running late. So we'll probably have some form of break to be able to get him into the podcast.
I'm here too.
And also, yes, Josh is here as well. Our little producer is sat there ready to go and help us with the podcast.
Like that.
Early shout out for Josh. If anyone's looking for any videography or photography work in the York and surrounding areas, please hit up his social media channels of @YorkVideoPro.
Just like that little
Early plug.
That little shout in the background there, like a puppy.
Oh,
I'm here too, guys.
Don't forget about me.
Like Scrappy Doo.
Yeah,
like Scrappy Doo.
But nobody likes Scrappy Doo.
I love Scrappy Doo. Anyway.
Well, no, Scrappy Doo was actually the reason that Scooby Doo got cancelled.
What?
As in the films, the live action films. You mean?
No, the cartoon originally, because it got cancelled, then brought back on air eventually, but without Scrappy Doo.
What? Did they hate the character so much?
Scrappy Doo was hated so much that he caused Scooby Doo to get cancelled. Also,
wow.
I learned from a Watch Mojo video. Shout out to Watch Mojo. Watch Mojo are awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just bring that up to your mouth a bit more. You know what I was saying last time in the podcast with Jay Furness?
Yes.
Because it's a vocal mic, it actually has to be like this.
In front of my face.
Yeah, because we haven't got condenser mics, but we will do in the future.
For our sexy vocals.
Yes. But today we're going to be talking about a few different topics. Sam, you're going to talk about...
Two things that I think we can all discuss, because I think we've all seen the Justice League film that's recently come to cinemas.
So I'm going to say early on, spoiler alert for Justice League.
We'll do a spoiler alert now, and then we'll do a spoiler alert
just before you say stuff.
Just before we start getting into it. That'll probably be the best idea, because then you've been warned twice, people.
Josh?
We'll leave a footnote in the description for when the spoilers start, so people can skip through.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's a very good idea.
It's easier for people.
Isn't technology amazing?
And then also we'll be talking about...
Yes, I've got a little bit more football news because, as you know, I'm a big Newcastle United fan, and it's very interesting stuff going on at the minute with the potential takeover for Newcastle United, so I can talk a little bit about that.
Excellent. And I'm going to be talking around about the usual stuff of the MMA world and combat sports world. It's going to be talking about the Bellator Heavyweight Grand-Prix, which is going to be running hopefully from the sort of end of this year until the end of next year, to crown the heavyweight world champion for Bellator. Very excited about that Grand Prix. And also I'll be talking about some boxing news, for example, Tony Bellew and David Haye being cancelled. Yeah. And the George Groves versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight has been announced in Manchester.
Sweet.
And the tickets, they will be selling tickets as of the 28th of November, ladies and gents. So if you are interested in boxing, you live near Manchester, then I would suggest go into World Super Series of Boxing and put an alert on your email, and it will send the email alert to you before it goes on sale to the general public, so you can buy them, which is what I've done. Nice. I'm thinking about going.
What, to the Groves
Eubank Jr.
Nice. It might not be about it.
It's in February. Can you just Google that for us, Josh?
And I'm just going to make random comments every now and again.
Cool, that's fine. Yeah, and then when Miki arrives, we'll have a catch up with him and see how he's doing. Cause
we'll also have a little talk and a little pre-plug about what the Cage Steel event.
Oh yes,
which
Cage
is
Steel 19.
Exactly a week today.
Yes, 7 days. So Cage Steel is, for anyone who doesn't know, is a local mixed martial arts organisation which is based in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, which is kind of near where we produce in York. So basically, the lovely guys at Cage Steel. We had Jay Furness on in the last podcast. We had a nice discussion around about Cage Steel and about the action that's going to be there. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail as well with the fight card. I would instantly like to shout out, off the back of reminding me about Cage Steel 19, I'd like to shout out to one of the fighters who was announced on there, which is Nathan Thompson.
Oh yeah, we watched him in Nico's Fight Night, didn't we?
Nico's Fight Night. So for anyone who was at the podcast, listen to Nico's Fight podcast, and we implore you to go back and listen to that and kind of find the bit about Nathan Thomas. Thomas or Thompson? Thompson, yeah. He was on that kickboxing event, and then he was announced recently to be on the MMA, the Cage Steel thing. So I did a blast out for him on Instagram, and yeah, loads of people liked it. So shout out to Nathan Thompson at Nath Tomps I think is his Instagram handle. So please follow him on Instagram, ladies and gents.
17th of February, by the way.
Is the George Groves Chris Eubank Jr.
Yep.
Ooh, 17th of February. Ooh. We could go.
We could.
You know, we said we're going to go to Haye Bellew.
And what we could do as well is, because that's a couple of days after Valentine's Day, isn't it? So it's just like, well, I've given you all of this, my love. Now you just need to do one thing for me. Let me go to the...
2 things.
Well, you could take our girlfriends.
We could.
Be interesting. Night out in Manchester.
Yeah.
Could have like a weekend in Manchester.
Little Sam does like a bit of boxing, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about what Lily would think.
She was going to do a charity boxing event.
Well, ultra white collar boxing. Ultra white collar boxing.
Is that what it?
That's what I've done. Got a fucking piss beat out of me.
Yeah. Well, she actually wasn't allowed to do it. Her doctors didn't allow her to do it in the end, which was a shame. So
How come?
I can't remember what the reasoning for it.
Was it on the night she was stopped from doing it?
No, it wasn't on the night. It was, you go for an initial assessment.
I didn't do that.
Oh, did you not?
No, well,
you meant to go for an initial assessment.
I did an assessment on the night. Well, during the day. So they took They took 2 blood pressure readings, and that was about it.
All right. Oh. Yeah, they must have gotten a bit more stringent.
Hopefully,
since the time that you did it.
How many people die in boxing? Loads of people die in boxing each year.
Yeah.
But that might just because a lot of people do boxing. So it might not be that there's a lot. It might not be a disparative nature between the other combat sports. But should we talk around about firstly, Sam, around about the hello, smash that into my face, you fucking pleb. Yeah. So
I hate you.
People who are listening, Josh decided to try and throw this microphone stand in my face.
Just keeping us on our toes.
Yeah,
I don't like your face.
At 10.
All right, thanks, mate.
30, 45, whatever it is in the morning.
10:42.
10:42.
It's Saturday, the 25th of November.
Yep.
It's my birthday on Monday, 27th. I'll be 26 years old. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, well, we're actually
1 year closer to death. Yay!
Thanks, mate.
It's all right.
I never thought we were the same age at the same time.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
And when's your birthday?
May.
The force be with you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh no, not the 4th. Unfortunately, my first girlfriend, her birthday was on May the 4th.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Was she into Star Wars?
I got her into Star Wars, as I've done with all my girlfriends that I've had.
You got her.
It's like a criteria to go out with me. You have to at least be open to the idea of obsessing over Star Wars.
Hit me up.
Okay. Well, we did do quite a lot about Star Wars in our last podcast.
Yeah, we did.
Where basically we did a shout out to a lot of different YouTubing channels. I specifically did it to Stupendous Wave. So again, a shout out to Stupendous Wave. Keep churning out that brilliant content about Star Wars.
Oh, more Star Wars news.
Oh yes, Josh.
As well as the new trilogy of films, they're also doing a live action TV show.
Oh yeah.
Really? You mean like what they're doing in Lord of the Rings?
Oh,
you heard about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
I mean, I will watch it because it's Lord of the Rings, and I love Lord of the Rings, but I don't think they should do it. I mean, those 3 films are perfect as they are. They don't need. I mean,
The Hobbit didn't help things.
I've still not seen the Battle of the Five Armies.
Keep it that way.
I watched the first 2 at the cinema, and I was like, these are dreadful.
Some of the actors though were very good, and that's the bit that disappointed me.
Yeah, again, great cast.
Some of the best British actors of all time.
It's one of those things, like, and that's not just.
I'll tell you what really fucked up, and this is a spoiler for anyone who's not watched it, and a spoiler for you. When Billy Connolly showed up.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Billy Connolly.
Yeah, as an actor, I'm not a fan.
Right.
It's very good stand-up.
Yeah,
very good stand-up.
I think, but what the problem was with the Hobbit films, which this can be applied to a great many films out there, it goes to show that if you get a great cast together, you still have to make a good movie. You can't just rely on your cast to make a movie.
I agree.
I think one of the best examples I've ever seen of that was Clash of the Titans, where they got people like Liam Neeson, Ray Fiennes,
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke in it.
Who's the bad guy?
I'm not going to talk about Sam Worthington after last time.
I love it.
I feel I may have gone a little bit too far with that.
I'd love it if I'd actually tagged Sam Worthington and he'd seen the podcast and went, "You fucking what?"
Good luck going for acting roles.
And he's like, I'm going to come on your fucking show, mate. I'm going to come on your gentleman's debate, and I'm going to debate the fuck out of you.
You trying to do an Australian accent there?
Yeah.
That was terrible, right?
Fuck off.
But your South African accent's all right.
My South African accent's great.
Yeah, it's all right, but that Australian
My
one was
Australian's
terrible.
fine. It's passable. My
No,
Scottish
no,
is great.
no,
And my Eubank Jr. is just it's
No,
uncanny.
Eubank Senior.
Senior, sorry, not junior.
Come on. Come
But
on, get it
yeah,
together.
because who else was in that Clash of Titans? Because
not-
there was Mads Mikkelsen,
Yes.
Alexa Davalos.
I don't know who that is. Sorry.
She was in the Chronicles of Riddick, the second film.
5.8 on IMDb.
Yeah,
Ooh.
not surprising.
Not doing too
Out
well.
of 10.
She was also actually she
Yes.
played a really cool character in Angel. Did Alexa Davalos.
Angel, as in the TV series?
Yes.
With, what was the guy who's the lead actor in that?
David Boreanaz.
He's a very good actor.
He's a very
I liked
good
him in
actor.
Bones. Did you watch
Bones
Bones?
is-
I did. I watched a couple of episodes
I
of
love
Bones,
Bones.
but when it came out, I was a lot younger, wasn't I? So I never really properly got into
I
it.
love
But it's one of
Bones.
those that I want to go back and watch again.
I would recommend watching that
Yeah.
for anyone
I didn't
who...
realise the lead actress in that is sibling to Zoe Deschanel.
Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah.
I like how you couldn't pronounce Zoe.
I know it's
Deschanel's
Zoe, but
the
it's
hard
spelt,
bit.
It's spelt really weird.
Deschanel's the hard bit to pronounce, mate. You picked Zoe to mispronounce. You fucking bellend.
It's like the other day when one of the guys from work said that I look like the Hangover guy, and I was like, "What? What are you on about?" I went with the beard because I was like, "What are you on about? The beard, the Hangover guy?" And I was like, "Zach Galifianakis."
Yeah, Mickey's here. So, ladies and gents, we're just going to take a quick break and then we'll get
After our
Mickey.
massive segue.
Yeah, we're going to get Mickey in here. So we'll be back in 2 secs. Thanks.
That was gold.
Okay, cool. Ladies and gents, we're back. We had a short break just to get Mickey in the building.
Just to get Mickey in the building and have a little talk about hiding your erection when you're at school.
Yes, hiding your erection when you're at school. Because Mickey's
Erratic
balls have
boners are the worst.
finally dropped, he was just saying before.
My voice has got even deeper. So it's, as I was saying, the three stages.
I'd say you could at least give some of that deepness to me. Wait, no.
Oh dear. Oh dear, Sam.
I've been
Have
here
you let something
less
slip
than a
on
minute.
Have you let something slip on the
less
Gentleman's
than a
Debate podcast? Is this what it turns into? It's just a podcast about us all fucking or something.
That's a late night podcast.
That's the late night
I
show.
suppose that doesn't
That's
make
the
any
live
sense
show.
because-
Let's do the live show. We could do a live show.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Spin-off.
this is a brilliant segue off of the back of that. There is a podcast that's doing a live tour in Britain called My Dad Wrote or Made a Porno. They're doing a live show in
I've heard about that one.
in
I've heard of
in the
that.
Barbican.
There's
Barbican in
2
York.
books based on it, I think.
Say again, sorry.
The guy wrote 2 books.
Yeah, the dad wrote 2 books. Is it their dad, and then they read the book out loud on the podcast. So it's like, I think, could you Google that for could you just find out what the book's called? Because it's a proper smutty book.
The more and more that I think about this podcast, the more and more I think we should have called ourselves the Segways. As opposed to the Gentleman's Debate.
Yes, yeah. So Mickey, just to catch you up, we're going to be talking around about Sam. You're talking around about football stuff, Justice League.
Justice League.
Oh, Justice League.
Have
I haven't
you seen
seen it yet.
Oh.
I haven't seen it
You're
yet.
going to spoil it for you, so
Spoiler
Yeah,
alert
there's
for Mickey.
That's fair enough.
You might want to leave the room when we talk.
It's fine. I've already left the room for quite a while, so I'm back now. I'm ready.
and then
Missed you.
I'm going to be talking around about the Bellator Heavyweight Grand-Prix that was recently announced.
Very nice.
And I'll
Very
also
nice.
be talking around about the boxing news because I've already said like the fight announcement for George Groves and Chris Eubank Jr. in Manchester in February 17th. Josh, 17th, yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's going to be an exciting.
and then
fight.
Tony,
I'm still rooting for Chris, but
Tony Bellew versus David Haye was rescheduled because of an injury that David Haye sustained, which I'll go into.
I'm not surprised.
In detail,
He's plagued with injuries.
Yes. So, Sam, so this actually go to the topics rather than the segues we've had to begin with the podcast. Do you want to talk about the Justice League? Go.
Right. So this
You are our budding film person.
yes.
So
This is
Justice League us up.
We'll do it. We've already done a little spoiler disclaimer. We'll do another one
beginning.
now. Warning: spoilers for the Justice League film starring Ben Affleck, Amy Adams, Gal Gadot.
Oh, Gal Gadot is so fucking hot.
Oh yeah,
It hurts.
Hey,
Do you know-
so is Amy Adams.
Which one's Amy Adams? Can you remind me? Oh, is that
Lois Lane.
Lois Lane. No.
Redhead.
She's no Gal Gadot.
Redheads, man.
No Gal Gadot.
She's not like that type of beauty where you're just watching her on screen and every now and again you're like,
So with Gal Gadot, the reason why I think it's not just her physical attraction.
It's because she could literally
it's
kill
a
you with
fucking
her bare
badass because she
arms.
used to be Israeli in the Israeli army.
military. Yeah.
And the bit about it in Israel, every single adult has to serve. Whether you are a man or a woman,
Yep.
you have to serve because the country has such a small population, and they basically are surrounded by enemies.
people who hate them.
Yeah, so they're surrounded by Egypt and Syria, which isn't really going well for Syria, and Jordan. And then they've also got problems in their own country with the West Bank and what's the other part of it called?
Gaza Strip.
Gaza Strip, thank you. So you basically that country is in a permanent state of war. And the poor old Jews that sit there, and Muslims and Christians, etc., who are of the state of Israel, are always in a perpetual state of war.
That
And
place
they're-
has been a powder keg for millennia, though.
Well, we fucked it up as well.
That the Crusades, King Richard, it just kept getting. Just,
Or Israel.
Yeah.
it really is that place. Like if you want, I want a nice quiet life. I want to.
Don't fucking settle in Israel.
I want to be on the Sea of Galilee, looking out, just as Jesus. Oh no, shit!
So it's
see a
like,
massive
so
army
Israel's
come
like
up.
that kid at school that just everyone picks on, even the outcasts.
Yes.
They just turn around and like,
To be fair,
the big
Israel-
countries pick
Israel
on the
is the
outcasts,
outcast
and then the
because-
outcasts go, "Well, you're the easy target. I'm picking on you now."
Israel's a different religion to everyone else in the area, so it's because of that. That's the
So Judaism was basically driven because all the Jews basically left
Yeah.
Israel after the Roman Empire basically annihilated them and scattered them to the winds. But then they went over. They mostly settled in Europe, so that's why a lot of Jews have like Slavic names.
yeah.
So they settled a lot in Poland and other Eastern Europe and Germany. And obviously then World War One was bad for them. World War Two was bad for them. Basically, there was a lot of shit that happened to the poor old Jews. And then basically after World War Two, the Americans and the other European countries, including Britain, were like, well, we need to give a place for the Jews to go. So they gave them the state of Israel.
Well, yeah, that was during World War II as well, when everything was happening. Like the Jews were like, "I'm not staying in Germany right now, or anywhere in where the Axis control," because they were just getting annihilated.
Even in Italy, even the Italians were like, they had to hand over Jews. Like even there's a lot of Jewish people in Italy. It's a big Jewish community. There was actually
everywhere.
They moved. They all went to fucking America. That's why there's such
Yep.
a big Jewish community in America.
Jewish, Italian, American.
Yeah. So the Justice League.
Yep.
Segue number 100.
We just can't do it, can we?
It's too. Do you know what? Right, I'll say why we segue so much is because
If we do a live show, it should be the Gentleman's Debate, the segues.
If we didn't do
That's our new
segues,
band.
it would last 5 minutes.
it would last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It would last 5 minutes, and also we wouldn't have as interesting conversations with
Yeah.
bits that just pop into your brain, and that's how a conversation goes.
Yeah.
We're not here to be scripted. As you can see, there is no script in front of us. We just talk off the cuff about certain topics. Justice League.
I can say we're not the what was our band called that we
The Real Ales.
The Real Ales. Yeah, we're not the Real Ales anymore with the segues.
The segues.
Yeah.
you
Right,
know-
Justice League. So there was a lot of
Hype. There was a lot of hype.
There's a lot of hype, but also a lot of
Negativity.
Yeah, negativity before going into it, because obviously,
A lot of people who like, because Marvel initially has come out with the big.
yeah, they've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and DC have basically tried to emulate that as fast as possible without actually really thinking about a lot of their films.
Yep.
So they started off with Man of Steel, which the first half, in my opinion, of Man of Steel was quite good.
Yeah.
Actually,
Agreed.
rather enjoyed it. I really like Henry Cavill as an actor, not Cavill.
Cavill.
Fat Cavill used to be his nickname back in school.
Oh yeah,
His name used to be what?
Fat Cavill.
Fat Cavill.
He was really fat, yeah.
And he's just
Well,
jacked now.
And yeah,
Sure, man.
now you look at him, and he's just one of those people that
He
you
is a-
look at and you go,
He's a dreamboat.
"Fucking hell, I'm unfit."
He is a dreamboat, though.
Imagine being at that reunion. Just
Imagine
I'm the fucking Man of Steel.
I'm Superman. I'm the man from U.N.C.L.E. He's also in the
Oh,
new
great
Mission
film.
Impossible.
We talked about
As
that
a villain?
in the last podcast, didn't
What?
we? The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
The man from U.N.C.L.E.,
Yeah,
yeah.
how we actually really enjoyed it.
The man from U.N.C.L.E.'s fucking great.
I've never seen it.
You should
So?
honestly.
Yeah,
you should
no,
really
it's
see it.
really
It's a really
good.
good. It's
Yeah.
a really good. It's a really good idea of that because he plays a British. Is it British? No,
No,
American.
he's
Sorry,
American.
fucking hell. He plays an American spy who ends up meeting a Russian spy, but the Russian spy he's been given like, you know, in
They've both been given sort of
Spoiled by the
the same orders but contrasting orders.
and then the Russian guy. Like in Rocky 4, was basically has been like altered and like given steroids and shit, so he's like super strong,
like super soldier.
yeah, like super soldiered up.
Yeah,
Because there's bits where he like rips a car apart, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
That's not what humans should do. That's not within our
That
biology.
bit at the beginning, that is a great bit where he's running after the car and she's like, why don't you shoot him? And he's there like, it just doesn't seem like the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But he was absolutely brilliant.
He's
in
a good,
that film,
he's a
Henry
fucking brilliant
Cavill.
actor.
And it's
Cavill.
Fuck's sake! Sorry,
He's not
Henry.
French.
Sorry, Henry.
Sorry, Henry. Henry.
Sorry, Henry, mate.
Sorry, kid.
We respect
I'll take you out for a pint.
but not Sam Worthington. Sam Worthington, fuck off.
Is that how you feel about Sam Worthington, Josh? Because I would never say anything bad about
never.
Sam Worthington.
Would you?
Even though the last podcast, an hour and 44 minutes, was just you shitting on him.
So,
Justice League us up.
yeah, it's actually quite funny because I was watching The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with little Sam, and she turned to me and said, because she didn't know that it was actually based on an older TV show back in
Brilliant
the 60s.
TV show.
I never watched the
You should.
60s show.
So
Yeah,
funny.
apparently very, very good. But she turned to me and said, is Henry Cavill's character...
Cavill.
That's what I
Cavill.
said.
You said Cavill's.
Cavill.
You put
You
an
just
S on
went
the
Cavill,
end.
yeah. And
It's
we've
Cavill.
got a recording.
Henry
Cavill.
Cavill's character. Cavill's. There was meant to be an
Cavill.
S on the end.
Cavill. Seriously, mate. How do you say cavalry?
Just Cav.
Cavalry.
Cavill.
So we say Cavill.
Cavalry. Henry Cavill.
There we go. Fucking
Henry
hell.
Cavill.
Oh, wow.
Zzz.
Learn something new every
Character.
day.
She
Go on,
said,
go on,
is
let's
it,
do this.
Is it based on Archer? You know, the TV show. You know,
I can kinda get that, yeah.
But it's funny because I've had a discussion at length with one of my cousins because we're big Archer fans.
Yep.
And we said, who would we want to play Archer in a live action version? And we both said Henry Cavill.
He would be good because I think he's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
He's got a
Doesn't take
good
himself
sense of
too
humor.
seriously.
Yeah, he's like, I'm Superman and I get paid a lot more money than everyone else. So fuck you. But in Justice League, one bit that people might have noticed and have seen
The mustache.
The mustache had to be.
Oh,
so
God.
could you explain to us what went on there,
Basically,
please, Sam?
it's because of his role in Mission Impossible that they were filming at the same time as the reshoots for Batman vs Superman. Not Batman, Justice League. Yeah. So, and he had a mustache for the shooting of Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So when Joss Whedon came in to do a lot of the reshoots for the Justice League,
Is it Joss Whedon who's doing the producing for?
well, it was Zack Snyder who obviously was meant to direct. Unfortunately, he had to drop out towards the end of the project because of a family.
His daughter passed away.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Wowza.
So he had to drop out. And then Joss Whedon was brought in to finish up the project, and he did a few reshoots.
Joss Whedon, didn't he? What films did he do?
He
Avengers.
Yeah, first
Buffy.
and second Avengers.
Firefly.
Yeah,
Serenity.
Buffy, Firefly, Serenity. Yeah,
That is a sheet of sci-fi.
Joss Whedon's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
a sheet. That is
Great
a
director.
gigantic book of work when you
Yeah.
think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Sci-fi wise, that is the biggest.
It's like but the second Avengers film sort of broke him, didn't it? He
Oh,
came
yeah.
out
Age of
afterwards, and
Ultron.
he
He
was
quit
just
Twitter
like,
for it.
yeah, he quit. You are.
He quit Twitter for a while.
Yeah,
I can
he
understand
quit,
why.
He quit Twitter. He quit. He just stopped working for a while. I think this is his first project back, and it was only part.
Well, it's a completely different universe now, so you can really play around with it. But the problem is he's working off of work that was already done by Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Well, he's also
But- so
been hired
obviously-
to do the Batgirl film. He's directing that.
There's a Batgirl film.
Yeah, there is a
Yep.
Batgirl film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's playing Batgirl? Do you know?
It's not been announced
It's not
yet.
been announced, no.
No, but
That
obviously
could be interesting.
that'll be good because Joss Whedon is a pioneer for a lot of sort of women's rights sort of stuff, isn't he? And that's what
Yeah.
they sort of say. That's sort of why they brought him on board because his whole thing about when he created Buffy, he was sick of watching like horror or action stuff
Where it's a male protagonist.
where basically the woman runs into an alley after being chased by a monster,
Yeah.
and then someone comes in and saves her, or
Damsel
she
in
dies or
distress there in
whatever.
the
Yeah.
story, yeah.
And he just had the idea of, well, what if she gets chased into the alley by a monster, turns around and kicks its ass, and Buffy was born.
Because I remember there was Buffy the film, and then they turned it into
Yeah.
a TV series.
Yeah, they had Buffy the film, which did terribly.
But the TV series was really
The
popular.
TV series, yeah,
Exceptional.
yeah,
It's
TV
cult,
series
it's a
is
cult classic.
yeah. Buffy and Angel are my favourite TV
It's
shows
like
of all
you
time.
know Stargate.
Absolutely love them. I
Is it-
actually have. I've got my jumper down there.
It's got Buffy on it
It's got. I'll show you. I'll show it to the camera
without hitting the camera.
without hitting the camera.
Is that what happened before? Is that what I missed?
I was going
Huh?
to wear it, but I realised it was a lot.
Did someone hit the camera?
smaller.
Yeah, it's just,
But
you kept
if
nudging
you
it.
can see that? Sunnydale High.
Sunnydale High. Cool.
Can leave it there. Nice little bit of...
Well, if you fall asleep later on, then you can
Yeah,
just...
exactly. Well, I'm not going to fall asleep during our entertaining podcast, am I?
Good. Exactly. And
Yes.
neither should you, fine listeners. Yeah.
I don't know why I looked at that camera as if it
Yeah, because you're at this one just here, you
yeah, just look like an idiot. But yeah, so for the reshoots of the Justice League, Henry Cavill had said it right.
Good
Cavill,
work.
Cavill.
Well done. I'm so proud.
Woohoo. He had a mustache, and they had to CGI out the mustache.
It's
And do you
really
know
bad.
how much
Some
that
of-
apparently cost?
Go on.
25 million, wasn't it?
No.
25 mil?
Yep.
Because obviously,
I'm in the wrong
No.
fucking job.
because they had to go frame by frame and edit out the mustache.
God.
No.
Why?
Frame by frame. How many
Yeah.
hours do they have to go through?
Fuck knows.
I saw one bit where they did like the profile shot of him,
Yeah.
and he had 2 lips. He had 2 top lips. That's how. So they're not that good.
And there was one bit.
Well,
which
that's
is,
how much 25 million gets you these days, mate. It's Trump change.
it is a real
Did you
shame.
say
as
Trump
well.
change?
Trump change.
Did you say
Trump
change? That's actually quite accurate. Trump, because Donald Trump could just go, well, how much do you get paid for being the president of the United States? 25. 25 mil.
$400,000 a year.
Yeah.
Is it only that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
And he's donated it.
Yeah, because
What
he
a-
doesn't need
What
it.
a- you know,
He could burn that.
Obama was making $500,000 a speech
Wow.
after he left for an hour. He would go somewhere, talk for an hour, and get $500,000 for it.
Hillary Clinton used to get.
I'm in
she
the wrong
did same.
business.
I'm in the wrong
I should be
business.
the president of the United States of America.
Well, you're
No?
not American, but you know.
What
luck.
I found is people that make a lot of money just have a big following or a business.
Cool.
Really?
Yes. Or are in porn. Well, I don't know.
Justice League. Let's go back to Justice League.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
general impressions of what you thought of Justice League, Sam, and we'll
Well,
talk
I went
about
into
this.
it thinking this is going to be dreadful.
Low expectations.
Because Batman vs Superman was terrible, Suicide Squad was terrible, Wonder Woman was great,
Wonder Woman was actually the best of all of them.
but I am not the biggest fan of Zack Snyder. I think he is better suited to being a cinematographer than what he is a director.
Yep.
Because his visual style is superb. He's one of the best out there for doing that. The problem is when he's a director and he has control over the the story,
Yeah.
the substance of the film, it's always lacking. 300, Watchmen.
Was there a lot of explosions in Justice League?
There was a lot of explosions in
That's
Justice
usually
League.
the case with a Zack Snyder film.
Yeah.
Like the
What
last
is it?
20 minutes of Man of Steel was just...
Yeah, it's like they got halfway through Man of Steel and just went, right,
Let's blow
we don't
stuff
want to stop making an actual good film now. Let's just do what the Avengers did and Transformers did. Skybeam. You know,
Yeah, but
they always have
kind
Skybeam.
They kind of built...
Yeah, I see
the
what you mean.
Avengers
Some
built
reason.
up to it the entire film.
Exactly,
They kind of
yeah.
the story arc was great.
That's what I plan on sort of getting into afterwards about DC Cinematic Universe versus the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because DC have just done it totally wrong. But
Yeah.
Justice League wasn't as bad as what I thought.
It was all right. I thought it was actually
it's an entertaining
good-
film. It's
not as good as it
nothing-
could be.
Yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking, but if you want to go and watch a decent film with plenty of action, great. Quite a lot of a bit of comedy in it. Aquaman and
So-
That was
the
the
Flash.
problem.
I thought they were great.
I thought some of their jokes fell flat.
Some of the jokes fell flat, absolutely.
In fact,
yeah,
a
I'm
large
not, but
proportion.
a lot of them I thought landed
Yeah.
quite well.
I think tonally the film itself was a mess.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
'Cause-
Yeah, it was a bit all over the place at times, wasn't it?
At parts you can point out
Yeah.
the bits that were part of a reshoot.
Yeah.
Why did they
It's
reshoot?
completely
Is it just
different.
because of Zack Snyder having to go?
Yeah,
Because
Joss Whedon sort of came in and
It's
saw a couple of things and was like, I think this could be done in this way.
Well, it's quite normal with films these days. I mean,
Yeah.
Rogue One went through reshoots.
Yeah, Rogue One.
Yeah, but Rogue One did well out of that.
Rogue One went through a lot of reshoots.
Han Solo's pretty much been completely reshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that might be good.
Yeah, we've already talked about.
Suicide Squad
Yeah.
got a lot of reshoots.
Do you know who edited the reason why Suicide Squad I think had a big fail was because the company that re-edited it all was a company that did how they did the trailers for it. There was 2 trailers that came out.
Yeah.
There was one that was really good.
There was
There's one that was dreadful.
There was the,
one that-
Great Balls of Fire one, and there was the
That was
Bohemian
terrible.
Rhapsody one.
Bohemian Rhapsody one was the better one.
Yeah.
That company, who only had ever done trailers editing, was then got the contract to edit the whole film.
Yeah.
So that's where I think there was a downfall.
There was a lot of problems with Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
A lot.
Wasn't it like the
problems.
directors had the same thing as they did with Justice League, where like there was a change of directors? someone
No.
gave up on
It was actually David Goyer. who directed Suicide Squad. He was all the way through.
Use some powerful Google, Josh.
There was a lot of studio interference.
Warner Brothers studio
yeah,
interference.
a lot of studio interference.
Why are they sticking their fucking oar
No,
in?
it was David Ayer, wasn't it?
David Ayer. Sorry, that's it. Yeah, not David Goyer.
Why are Warner Brothers sticking their oar in? Disney are fucking just going, Marvel, do what you want, here's some money, and we'll get all the merch.
And it's working well.
And it's working very well
Yeah.
because they just leave
Well,
it.
actually, no. Disney do this thing where they get really good screenwriters and really good directors and really good cast. And
Black
then
Panther's coming
say,
out soon.
now
I
you
can't
have
wait
the
for that.
creative freedom.
But
But again, with the Han Solo film and to a certain extent with Rogue One, they interfered quite a lot.
I wonder why
It's
they
just
did that.
Very much Rogue One. Apparently, with the Han Solo film, tonally, the directors and the studio had different ideas of what they wanted, so they got rid of the directors.
They wanted to make a comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want, sorry, hang on. The directors wanted to make it a comedy.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember what it was that they did, but they did a quite a well-known comedy film, didn't they? Jump Street. They did the 2 Jump Street.
No, right, okay. Why the fuck were they even given that contract then?
The 2 Jump Street films were very good.
Yeah, but that doesn't
It was
mean
a
that.
different genre.
Why would
It
you?
was a different
Why would
genre,
you want a
but-
fucking
but,
comedy film?
Lego Batman I did as well.
Oh, I hated that film.
Lego
Don't
Batman
care.
was great.
No, it's terrible.
Oh no, that was Chris McKay.
But
Thanks, Josh.
But
Sorry, guys.
no, but there is quite a few directors out there who can jump
Justice
from
League
genre to
related.
genre. Yeah, there are a lot out there. Like, I had a perfect example in my head. Then it's gone. No, it's gone.
Oh,
but
it'll come back to you.
it'll come back
So
to me.
Justice League, an assessment would be
Go watch it.
go watch it.
See for yourself. As with every film,
If you're
ever.
if you're a strong hardcore comic book fan, it may be not as good as you wanted it to be.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
However,
There are problems with it. There are, like, Steppenwolf. The CGI for Steppenwolf
yeah, I thought
was
that was poor.
dog shit.
Yeah,
It was
not good.
dreadful.
I thought that was really
it
poor.
really distracted me
The actual
whenever
demons,
it was on screen.
what, the parademons?
Parademons were great.
They were great.
Yeah, they looked brilliant.
They were fucking scary
They
as
must have
fuck.
blew all their budget on the
Parademons.
parademons and then gone, oh shit, yeah, the main villain. Forgot about him.
Well, yeah, that was good. I thought Ben Affleck did a good job as
Yeah.
Batman.
Well,
I think.
Well.
See, this is one of the things that I saw leading up to it. A lot of people were saying that one of the big problems with it was that that Batfleck. I have to call him Batfleck. Seemed like he wanted to be doing absolutely anything else but this. And I didn't get that sense when I was watching the film. I thought he did a very good job.
I did.
Really, he was the best part by an absolute country mile about Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
I don't think he was the best thing about Justice League,
No.
but I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
Just did it again.
You fucking hit me again with the fucking microphone. What are you fucking doing?
Go for the hat trick later on.
You fucking do that.
Yeah,
I'm going
buddy.
to wrap this round your fucking head.
But but it was decent.
I thought I was quite glad to see Jason Momoa returning to a big role.
Yeah, he was great
He's
as
fucking-
Aquaman. I thought.
Yep, that's fine. I was dubious because he doesn't look like Aquaman. In the comic books, whose Aquaman is a white blonde guy.
Yeah.
And there was, is it the guy from Sons of Anarchy? The main.
Charlie Hunnam.
They were some people were saying that it should have been him because they did it. Did it where he had the hair, like the beard style, and I was like, fucking hell, he looks a lot like Aquaman. But if I'm honest, I prefer that they've went with Jason Momoa because it's more of a because the thing about Aquaman a lot of people don't know is one, he's a fucking badass character in comic books. Everyone jokes about, oh, you can only talk to fish and that's it.
That is awesome.
No, he's also a very dark character where he's willing to kill people. So he just he doesn't go with Batman who tries to save the criminal or detain them or something like that.
Except in Batman vs Superman, where he inexplicably kills everyone.
Yes,
for no reason.
Well, I think that's more because he's gone Dark Knight style. The Dark Knight style, where he's grizzled and he just kills people because he's gotten to that point of being an old man where he doesn't care anymore.
Still don't think he actually killed in the Dark Knight comic.
I thought he did.
No.
I thought he was more.
He has killed before in comics as
Yeah.
Batman, but
In the Dark Knight comic, he snapped Joker's neck.
No, that's the
Is it
Killing
that?
Joke.
That's
No.
I thought that was a Killing Joke.
yeah.
that was
Well, and
Dark Knight
it's
Returns.
very debatable as to whether he does actually snap the Joker's neck in the Killing Joke.
Yeah, that's a good
It's an
debate. Mike.
interpretation that some people have had at the end.
Yeah,
of
but
it.
he also does it in Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, right, okay.
Does he?
Yeah.
Is that the one where he's got the actual robot thing that's based off of what the Superman, Batman versus Superman is?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. So he does kill somebody. Interesting.
Okay.
You know what? If I was Batman and the Joker was doing all that, I would kill him because otherwise it's irresponsible to let him go around killing people. because the Joker just kills people. So if you don't kill him, you're killing people indirectly.
I think Heath Ledger's Batman put it. He's a mad dog that chases cars. If he ever caught one, he doesn't know what to do with it.
Well,
That's a really good way of putting it.
after the 14th time that he's broken out of Arkham Asylum, I'd probably be like, yeah, you need to die.
I
now.
wouldn't keep putting him back in the place where he keeps breaking out.
No,
You know what I mean?
That's not a smart.
I'd put him
Your
somewhere
track
real.
record's terrible. I'm going to go with another
I'm
company.
gonna get Superman to fly you onto a prison on the moon. There you go.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
That's not a bad idea.
Or what we'll do is we'll just
But
put
then
you.
what if he takes over the moon?
What you do is you put him into the what's that? Flipping the Phantom Zone.
It's a big bow tie on the moon.
Put him in the Phantom Zone. Fuck it.
Yeah.
See ya in the Phantom Zone. Away you go. But yeah, I thought also, I think the guy who played Flash, who was Credence in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I thought he was
I still haven't
good.
seen it though.
You need to,
Despite
seeing
the
as
fact
you.
I was on the set.
It's a very good film.
You were in it, though.
You know,
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I messaged Josh about this around about Jude Law, because it's been announced he's doing some more acting. He's playing young Dumbledore in the new Fantastic Beasts.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
So that will be interesting.
I heard about
Interesting one about Ezra Miller as well. When you talk about different tonal shifts, if you watch Ezra Miller in We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Not
If
watched that
anyone's
film.
ever seen
No,
that.
Seen it.
no.
Very, very good. Very dark film.
I think he could play a very dark character. Like, he's got it in him. He's definitely got it in him.
He is borderline.
Psycho.
Yeah, well, not even borderline side, just flat out psycho in that film. But
Yeah.
he does it so well. And then you see him in things like Justice League, where he's playing Barry Allen as the Flash, and you're just like, Jesus Christ! Where it's such a happy.
He's kind of mastering the whole socially awkward kind of.
Yeah, he did
vibe,
that
isn't
very,
he?
very well.
Yeah, well, he did
Yeah.
that with Credence in
Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts. And what I'd say is, I think he's a good Flash. I like the look of him as Flash. I just wish that he was a bit.
The
Jokes were a bit. I
yeah,
think his
if
jokes
it
were
was
the.
toned down just a
Yeah.
little bit. But then again, Barry Allen is very much like that. When he's part of the Justice League, he's just so happy to be there.
Yeah, but in the
Isn't
Flash
he?
TV show, he's so different. He's not socially awkward in that way. Like,
Yeah, I think the Flash TV show is actually quite a good representation of the Flash.
yeah, completely
It's a good
different
story as well.
incarnations.
It's a good storyline in that as well, about like how his mother was killed. But I do like how they talk about like how his dad was in prison because they say that he murdered his mum.
Yeah.
But then there's a whole backstory around about the Flash's backstory and time traveling and shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So if anyone to understand Flash, you need to
And
read the
Flashpoint.
comics.
That's
Have you
one
heard that he's the most powerful character in DC? There's like
I have heard that theory that he is the most powerful. I would like to say it's Aquaman.
No, it's
That's my hypothesis.
Dr. Manhattan.
Really?
No, the argument
well,
was
technically, yeah. But are you talking about DC in general or
it's just what the
go-
one
let's
thing
go
that he
Justice
can do.
League.
He can
Batman.
run at the speed of light.
Justice League.
Batman?
Yeah, I could see that as well.
He just beats everybody. He has a plan to beat everybody.
Yeah, he's a plan for everything.
Have you
so
been?
he's the most
he
powerful
just-
If you're talking about actual powers that they have, then no. But if you mean
in general.
who
likely
could
to
beat
win.
who, most likely
Most
to win.
likely to win.
Most likely to win. It's
'Cause he's the
but,
most-
like you
Powers in
depends
general,
what
it's
situation you
Superman.
put them in. Because Batman, if he's got enough preparation, he beats Superman. But on any day, Superman could be having his cereal, just like, and something goes off. He's there like, oh yes, oh it's cold.
Superos.
There's one
I think
thing.
he just fuck everyone
I'd
up.
say because the thing that Batman says, if Superman really wanted to, he could easily kill Batman whenever they fought.
Yeah.
It's that Superman's always holding back in some way. So unless there was, but I would say, I think if Batman has given, because he has a plan to kill everybody. Well, not kill, but neutralize
Everyone,
everyone who's on the Justice League if they become a threat. Because obviously Superman becomes a threat to the rest of the world when he gets given fucking kryptonite.
Yep.
Wonder Woman could just go rogue one day for no reason. She could be like, "Oh fuck it," and then Aquaman could just be like, "Oh, Atlanteans, we want the land back.
Yeah.
We'll have that back now." But I think Aquaman is the most powerful because he has fucking control of the sea.
But there's the lanterns who literally have
Yeah. No,
are
Green
only
Lanterns.
limited by their imagination.
Yeah,
That is their power.
And their willpower.
Yeah,
Although,
but
you
I
know,
think in terms of powers they actually have, it is Superman. He is the most powerful.
Well,
I
they
mean,
said that
the
in comic
Green Lantern
books.
in Justice League didn't fare too well against Steppenwolf, did he?
The very beginning.
Yeah,
Very
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got
Definitely
fucking
not.
jacked straight away.
yeah.
You read into that, and apparently the character is wasn't a very good Green
he
Lantern.
wasn't
Oh, we
very
forgot to
good.
mention Cyborg. He was actually quite good.
I enjoyed Cyborg.
Yeah.
The actor did a good job there
I
as
Very
well.
love
Fisher,
that
yeah.
line as well when he's on about again a little spoiler when he's talking to his dad.
Yeah.
And he says something about hiding the monster or whatever, and his dad says to him, "You're not a monster," and he turns around and goes, "What makes you think I was talking about me?"
Ooh, yeah, that was good.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was like,
I think a lot of his backstory was cut though.
yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but no,
Because it doesn't go into the fact that he was a ex-football, American football. Like he was going to be drafted into the NFL and everything like that. His mum was killed in front of his dad, and like during when Superman and Batman apparently had that big battle in Gotham. Was it Gotham or Metropolis?
No, it was Metropolis.
So they had that big battle there. Apparently, like all that stuff. They all linked together, but then they didn't really talk about it very much in Justice League when they could have, and given Cyborg an even more in-depth
And I
backstory.
think that's a great way to sort of lead into the Marvel versus DC stuff that we were talking about before. This has always been my problem with the DC cinematic universe that they tried to build up. They sort of started, I don't think they had the plans to do the cinematic universe from Man of Steel. I think it may be true, it may be
Just
not.
happened.
I think they wanted to do a couple of Superman films with Henry
Well,
Cavill.
no, because Green Lantern was meant to be the start of the whole
Was it?
universe, yeah.
Right.
But then that tanked. So
Yep, that was
we thought,
terrible.
That did tank.
Let's just not, let's sweep that under the rug.
So
It's
that's
either tank or like medium. It's never like whoa.
So it's green. So the Green
Okay, so I
Lantern
didn't
was
act-
their Iron
yeah,
Man.
I didn't actually know that was
That's what I'd say.
that was the plan. But they saw, like I say, they have gone into it wrong because they should have done. So they had their Man of Steel film. They had that start.
Yep.
They then should have done a solo Batman film, a solo proper Green Lantern film, a solo Aquaman film, on all of these before they brought them all together.
Bring them all
and
into it and show
and this
the
was the problem
backstories.
because the third film in that cinematic universe was Suicide Squad, which they plastered together a load of characters which we'd never seen before. Like, obviously, if you know about them, you know about them. People that don't read the comics didn't know who the fuck Boomerang was, or
Captain Boomerang.
or even Enchantress, and
Even
you'd
though
never
I
seen
think-
them on screen.
Yeah.
So it was forced chemistry, which a lot of them didn't have, apart from, I would say, Will Smith as Deadshot and Margot Robbie
Robbie
as Harley Quinn. They worked well
But that's
together.
because they're two of the best fucking actors on the roster, mate.
And
And the guy who played the captain.
Jared Leto wasn't terrible.
Jared Leto was
the guy who
terrible.
played the captain. What's his name? Captain.
Oh, God's sake! Can
Yeah.
you just? It's
Can-
it's Joel
Can you just quickly?
Kinnaman.
Kinnaman. That's
Yeah.
it.
The
Joel
guy, the
Kinnaman
actor.
as I can't remember. Yeah, Joel Kinnaman's the
So
actor.
He did.
I can't remember what his
he
character's
played
name was.
RoboCop.
Yes, he
Yes,
did.
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly, Tom Hardy was up for the role of who Joel Kinnaman played in Suicide Squad.
Tom Hardy was going to play.
I think they just consider Tom Hardy for anything nowadays.
well, Tom Hardy's playing Venom.
he is playing.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's jacked. He is jacked. For
Not
Venom.
looking forward to how that's going to go.
Could be
'Cause
brilliant.
it could be, but it's not.
So
It's
Venom's
not,
like
it's not Disney Marvel
Rick
that's
Flag.
doing it. It's
Captain
Sony.
Rick Flag.
Yep.
Thank you for.
Yeah, we have the same thing with Spider-Man. It's
Yeah.
Sony that do it. And
So,
it just doesn't hit the mark,
Sony
so.
did all the solo Spider-Man films, didn't they? Apart from Homecoming.
So they
just
doing?
kept having
Are
to
they,
try and
sorry, are they
redo it
doing
like
the Venom film?
Yeah, Sony are doing the Venom film.
So
that's
not
why I
Mar-
don't really. No,
so
not
not Marvel.
No.
Oh, it's going to
So
flop.
basically, Sony have all the rights to Spider-Man characters. They lent actual Spider-Man and Vulture for the Tom Holland stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's something like they have to make a movie in that universe every certain amount of years to keep hold of the rights. Otherwise, it goes up for grabs. And obviously, Marvel will just go,
Well, it's the same with like Fantastic Four and X-Men.
yeah, but no one cares
Fantastic
about
Four is not doing.
But apparently, Fox wanting to focus on news and sports now, so they're looking at selling some of their TV and film properties.
Let's
and
buy it. Let's buy it,
X-Men.
boys.
So, yep,
Fantastic Four and X-Men is up for grabs. by Disney.
I'm not bothered about Fantastic Four, but I definitely hope
X-Men.
that they sell the X-Men because
Just
the
like-
X-Men needs. I love the cast that they've got. The problem is because
Because they've lost Patrick. They don't have Patrick Stewart.
They don't
anymore.
have Patrick Stewart.
They don't
anymore.
have Hugh Jackman.
No, they don't have Hugh. Well, it's debatable
Hugh Jackman.
whether he will return.
He's not coming back. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I
that
think
now.
the only way he will return, and he
Super
has
old
stated
man.
he stated this if he gets to join one of the Deadpool movies.
Really?
Yep. Because him and Ryan Reynolds are like that, aren't they? They're fucking good
Well,
mates.
look how
love
good.
to see
Look
that.
how good actors both him and Ryan Reynolds are. Because Hugh Jackman can go from a thing like Les Miserables,
Yep.
and he's doing a new film that we saw the advertising for at Justice League.
Oh yeah, the circus one.
This is called
Yeah.
the circus one because I don't know the name of it. He's a very varied, talented actor.
Versatile.
He can do. Thank you. He's very versatile. He can do basically any style of acting.
Mm-hmm.
He can do all of it and everything. And I think his portrayal of Wolverine was one of the best because it was very raw and gritty. Like every
perfect.
time he screamed with
yeah.
anger, you felt the anger behind him.
He-
Big problem is he's got nose cancer.
Yeah, he's had it several times.
Yeah, he's got cancer. So sometimes you'll see him with like a plaster over his nose.
Yeah.
It's because he's got cancer cells in his nose.
Yeah, because he
all of the coke
refused.
No, I'm joking.
No. He refused to put sunscreen on, even though he lived in Australia.
What?
Oh, so it's skin cancer?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's terrible.
He came out and sort of explained the reasoning behind it, and then was like, "Yeah, I was a fucking idiot. I now put lots of sunscreen on if I'm in the sun."
Yeah,
so
that's a good point. Justice League. Round
good.
It up. They say that it's a good film. Could have been
definitely go watch it.
Had more potential.
The last thing about it though is two things that I just wanted to mention. One of the stories that has come out in the past couple of weeks or past week, it's looking very much likely that Batfleck wants to step down from the role.
Oh, for God's sake.
Which is a problem. I think it would be a huge shame. But if
Batman.
He is a good Batman. I think the problem is they sort of got excited about how well he did, and the studio went, have everything, do it all, and he's gone, well, that's a lot. and he wanted to take his time with his solo Bat film, and he wanted to do it right.
With the studio being too needy, is that what it was?
Pretty much. Like, not only the studio, a lot of the fans, and the fans are like really weird because they're like, I don't care how long it takes for that film to get out, as long as he does it perfect.
Yes,
and does it well and takes his time with
like a Star Wars
that would be the best way, which is what he wanted to do. But a lot of the fans weirdly were like, oh yeah, no, that's perfect, but get it done. And I think he's just got fed up with it all and just been like, this is too much stress on his life, which is fair. If he feels like he can't
He's got enough money to not really have to be stressed.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, the reason he took on the role was because of his son.
Yeah.
Because,
He wanted to be Batman for his son?
Yeah.
That's a fucking great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all power to him.
The one problem I have with this incarnation of Batman in the DCEU is that the Batman in the comics is the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, they've not done enough detective work.
Never seen that.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Maybe they do
in the solo Batman film. I do want him to go back to his sort of detective roots, and that's why, leading on to the other point, spoiler alert again for the end credits scene.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
So it's basically
that was worth it.
Yeah, I was going to say
100%
definitely do that.
Film.
Mickey.
Oh yeah.
Mickey, I'll do this when I'm done.
I can still hear you.
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, well, you're fucked then.
Let's go for it.
You're on you see a boat sailing across.
That's not how it starts.
So, shall I do this?
Arkham Asylum.
Huh?
So Arkham Asylum, and then
of course,
the
yes,
guard,
it does.
the guard presses open to get everybody out.
Yeah.
Then who we think is Lex Luthor is stood in a cell, bald guy, laughing, ha 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 ha, ha. And then basically...
then it cuts to the boat.
Then they turn around the guy, and it's not Lex Luthor. Then it cuts to a boat going to a bigger boat.
I thought that was going to be Bryan Cranston.
Oh, that would have been good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the real Lex Luthor, all right?
Yeah, that would have been good.
That'd been
so then
great.
it cuts to the real boat, and it's a guy
And
on the boat
you just
with
see
two swords over his back. And then you see him get on the boat and meets Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor says to him...
I can't remember what he actually says.
Well, he basically says to the
it's
effect,
unfair, we want a league of our own.
We want a league of our own.
But obviously the person on
he's
the boat
speaking
with
to
the
is
two
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke. Joe
Deathstroke the Terminator?
Joe Manganiello?
Is that how you pronounce
Manganiello?
it? I don't want to have a go at it since I've
Yeah.
pronounced so many names wrong.
Yeah, Joe Manganiello.
Sofia Vergara's husband.
Really?
Yeah.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
talking about Sophia.
Further proof
Lucky
how good-looking people just find each other.
Oh.
Well, of course they're going to look for good-looking people. They're not going to look for tramps, are they? So yeah, that was worth. If you want to go see Justice League,
yes,
it's worth seeing that because you do fucking start creaming when you see that end credit scene.
You do.
Yeah,
you do 100%. So please go. Implore you to watch Justice League.
Yes.
Mickey, we've ruined it for you.
It's fine.
Actually, I thought we did pretty well with the vast majority of the film. I don't think we spoiled too much.
No,
you've done quite well.
Did right.
I think
I got delayed, so I really wanted to see it, but I got delayed.
The one problem with DC strategy is that for every film before release, you hear on Twitter and stuff about how it's the greatest DCEU film in the world.
And then it comes out and it's no.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Apart from Wonder Woman.
I don't understand how they get it that wrong.
It's because, and I'll tell you, all right, so this is something I've seen with the UFC social media. So the social media teams that do it, they're not actually comic book fans. They're not actual comic book writers. They're nothing to do with comic books. They're outsourced agencies that are given, they basically, imagine we didn't know each other, and you'd come in to do work for us, and then I started asking you to do specific camera work and audio technical stuff, and then you started just going, well, I know what I can do, so I'll just do what I do. That's what they're doing. So these third-party companies that they're contracting their social media out to are basically going, well, we think we know what's right, but they're not talking to, like, they're not going to Stan Lee and asking, Stan Lee, how do you want the bloody, how do you want the social media? They're not doing that. They're not sitting down and spending enough time with them. So the UFC have done this because they've recently been doing a lot of stuff like Stand and Bang and Let's Go to War, which is all like the early
Bang. That sounds tiring.
It's just terrible, but like the 2000, that's the early 2000s style. Like when MMA started, everyone was like, yeah, you know, Stand and Bang, like Let's Go to War. But now it's much more like, well, let's go to war. Like no one's gonna die. It's going to be an athletic competition between two people.
Yeah, they tried to basically try and sell it with the gore and the hype. And
so they're trying to be like, oh, we think we know, but they're not like UFC fans. They're not UFC. They don't watch the UFC. They're not actual employees of the UFC. They're third-party contractors that they've been given because they've shown good results in the past, and they probably do it cheaper than an actual employee. So that's the issue. That's why the social media can be so disconnected from the actual.
Well, another reason why they have been getting a lot of it so wrong is because they are literally trying to play catch-up with Marvel.
Why are they bothered? Why?
I know.
Why?
I don't understand it, but when you think about it, right?
Yes.
Universally,
it was the money.
Universally, we all know what is the best film so far in that DC cinematic universe.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah. And do you know why that is the best film? Because what? Okay, so it just
because of what Wonder Woman embodies.
No. Setting aside like the fact that it just everything that makes a good film, it is a good film. But what does it actually contribute to the overall DC Cinematic Universe story that we've seen? Nothing. It's literally like they've gone, right, this is the DC Cinematic Universe that we've got. This is the Steppenwolf, blah, 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 blah. Wonder Woman. Just come back here, just a little separate thing to show, oh, this is where she came from.
It's all to do with a photo, which the photo had no bearing towards Justice League.
Exactly.
Essentially.
Yeah, and they made a really, really good film out of it.
Essentially, Wonder Woman is the return of a Sith by default. It's the best one by default.
Return of the Sith?
Revenge of a Sith.
Revenge of the Sith.
Get my films mixed up.
Oh, little segue here. I saw a good post the other day.
About?
Yesterday. About, it was just on a little Star Wars meme Facebook page that I follow. And it was, rate all of the Star Wars films from 1 to 10. As in, give it a rating.
An individual score per film.
Score, yeah. And I did it, and it was fun. And I got a lot of likes on my little post.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Good.
Well done.
So should we move on from Justice League?
Yeah.
So proud of you today.
Thank you.
Should we go over to, what was it that you wanted to cover as well, Sam?
I can do the Newcastle United football club.
Yeah, so we're transitioning now to football fans.
Woohoo.
So we probably have, should we do markers in the YouTube
Yeah, it'd be easier
comments
for everyone else.
Yeah, we'll do little markers. So what we'll do, ladies and gents, we'll timestamp all this stuff so you can be like, oh, you can go to different bits. So now we're going to transition over to football news.
Cool. Yeah. So as I've been talking about in the last couple of weeks, because you all know I'm a big Newcastle United fan, we have still currently under Mike Ashley's control. He's still the owner of Newcastle United Football Club, but he has announced that he wanted to sell the club before Christmas.
Yep.
And he has been in talks with a company called PCP Company. PCP.
I know PCP.
Hilarious.
They're massive.
Yeah, they are massive. Yeah. Which is partly owned by Amanda Staveley, if I'm correct.
Who's that, sorry?
One of the owners for PCP
Okay.
Company.
You don't know who that person is? Because you said it's owned partly by a specific person.
Amanda Staveley.
Who is that? Yeah, but who is that in relevance?
In relevance
Isn't
to...
it PCWP?
Pardon?
Oh, anyway, carry on.
What do you mean, in relevance to...
So you said a very specific person's name, and you said... I thought they were like a celebrity or something, the way you were saying it.
No, she's just this... I think she's basically...
A billionaire?
No, I don't think she's a billionaire, but...
A millionaire?
I'm not too sure she's the CEO of the company or she is one of the founders of the company or whatever.
What do they do? What's the company do?
She's basically the name who is taking control of all the negotiations.
And what does that company
she acts
do?
as the broker. I don't actually know what PCP Company
I'm pretty
does.
sure they're very big on the services and in terms of software and stuff like that, but I could be wrong. And training, they do a lot of that.
PCP, can you Google that for us, Josh?
Well, PCP Company. Don't just put
PCP because that's Angel
Google
Dust.
Amanda Staveley. because
How do you spell it? Amanda, but Staveley. How do you spell Staveley?
Staveley.
Stav Early?
No, I don't think
Staveley?
Staveley.
So Stavely.
Stavely. I don't know.
That's how I would say it.
I've pronounced her name wrong.
You're regretting ever saying her name now. You just wanted to talk about Newcastle.
Keep going with the...
But yes, so basically they midweek came in with an offer for the club of 300 million.
Yeah, I'll take that. Isn't that
Which-
what you were saying? You put the asking price up 300 mil.
I think the asking price, because he bought us for 200 million or 250 originally,
Right.
but then he did pour a lot of his own money into getting the club
Back up.
financially stable.
Yeah.
Not back up. We were in the Premiership when he bought us.
Okay.
We hadn't been relegated at that point. And we've now had we've suffered 2 relegations under Mike Ashley's ownership of the club,
Right, okay.
which says all it needs to say. So I think he wanted, obviously, a return on his investment and then a little bit more. I think originally he said he wanted 400 million for the club. That's what he valued it at. I've
take
seen...
that 300 mil.
Yeah, I know.
I would take that 300 mil.
I'd take 1% of that. And he... Yeah, so they came in with a bid of 300 million.
Yeah.
I think he's now turned around and said 350 mil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meet
If
me in
I
the
was
middle.
like-
Come on, only 50 million. Come on, meet me in the middle.
Well, it's not like they can't afford it, so I'm just sort of begging and just going, yes,
Have
please,
you
just
found
do
out
it, just
Amanda
do it.
Staveley? Yeah.
So PCP Capital,
There you go.
they provide investment banking and financial services.
Oh shit! So they got enough money.
So they're like.
Can you
they're
find
like
out
a-
their?
yeah,
Could you
they're
find
they're
out
like
how
a
much they
version of
are?
a hedge fund, and they
much they're
basically
worth?
pool their money together. This is considered an investment for their shareholders.
Could you just find out how much they're worth? Net
It'd
worth
be
of
a-
that company.
It'd be a couple of billion. At
I would
least.
say it's a couple of billion.
Yeah.
350 mil.
No,
Chuff
investment
heck.
companies can put down some ridiculous
Yeah,
cash.
you get some good stakeholders. That's going to be. I mean, the thing about it is you're going to have like the who's who of some of the best investors in the modern world behind Newcastle. But the problem is that's a lot of stakeholders who have a say about what happens to the club.
Yeah.
So it's not one person anymore.
It's a collection of people
It's
with money.
Yeah, so the conglomerate could make a decision of sell all the players and try to get a quick return, and then they get relegated, or they do the opposite direction.
That
and
would
then,
be a bad idea, though,
Oh,
because if they
terrible.
get relegated, they
Yeah.
would then just lose a lot of their
Yep,
money anyway.
agree. So the
I
better
don't think they
idea
would do that.
is just they need to spend money to make money
Yeah,
So spend
absolutely.
more
I think
money
that's
on better talent.
But in
Yeah.
PCP market capitalization, if it's a private company, it might not be able to tell you.
You'd just be on Wikipedia, surely.
It's not saying.
Surely it'd be on Wikipedia.
Private companies don't have to disclose
So I
that.
searched for the
don't
company
they?
and it comes up with her
Oh, okay.
under Wikipedia.
So it's not coming up with any net worth.
No.
Okay, that's fine.
So to say that she is the CEO of the company, or
The thing you could do is you can go on company check and type it in that way, but national conglomerates
Doesn't really
have so
give you
many
that
offices,
information.
you'll only get the HMRC version.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. It's not the end of the world anyway.
She
it's
was
just
born in
interesting.
Yorkshire.
She's born in Yorkshire.
Yorkshire lass.
Where in Yorkshire?
Doesn't say. But
You're
she's
sounding
the
very
daughter
much
of
like
the
a
guy.
story now.
No, I'm just interested because it's like she's born in Yorkshire.
So
It's just
her
We
dad
are
founded Lightwater Valley.
no.
Really?
Wow. Her dad founded Lightwater Valley.
Yep.
Fucking hell. Amanda Staveley. Baller. Good on her. So Newcastle could be bought by a very large investment.
yes. So obviously
firm.
they rejected the 300 million bid, but they're expecting another bid to come in this week or next week.
Awesome.
Which could be
Well,
very, very interesting. Hopefully,
competitive ones could be good for the club.
All I'm hoping is that we do get owners in who are very much interested in putting money into the club, buying very, very good players, and just competing for trophies, because
That's what you need.
Newcastle haven't, not counting the championship trophy, because it technically doesn't count. We haven't won a major trophy in my lifetime. The last major
long
trophy we
time.
won was the Fairs Cup in 1969, I want to say. 1969 was the last time we won a fucking trophy.
Wow.
Yeah, not counting the 2 championship trophies when we got relegated to the second tier of English football.
You okay?
Yeah.
Wow.
The closest we came, and this is a funny story for you, the closest we came to winning a trophy was the FA Cup back in 1999, I think it was. We lost in the final at Wembley, the old Wembley, to Manchester United 2-0. And it was probably one of the worst days of my life, because it was the day, I think, before my birthday.
Oh,
Yeah. So me in 1999, a little, how old was I then? 7 years old.
With black and white on, little flags,
yeah.
hat, scarf.
Yeah, watching it at my uncle's house. I remember losing 2-0 and me crying my eyes out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to go back in time and give little Sam a hug. Oh,
Yeah.
baby Sam.
That's how you
Fucking
traumatize a kid.
Paul Scholes scored one of the goals, and I think it was Teddy Sheringham scored the other.
Flipping hell, Skulls blast from the past, eh? Jeez.
Teddy Sheringham's a blast from the past. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes, quality midfielder though.
Well,
Fucking
unfortunately, he didn't get enough
amazing
play with
midfielder.
England.
Yeah, because we had Lampard and Gerrard at the time, and
Yeah.
they couldn't fit Lampard, Gerrard, and Scholes in the same midfield somehow.
I would just stick them all in there.
Sports,
Fucking McLaren.
Sports, yeah.
Oh, well, sorry,
Josh.
McLaren,
Yes.
Ericsson, lesser extent Capello, because Scholes was approaching the end of his career, but he still didn't know how to play fucking Lampard and Gerrard together. Who was before McLaren?
Doesn't matter.
That was it, Ericsson? I don't fucking remember. But yeah, so interesting times ahead for Newcastle United. I'm hoping that we do get, the sale does go through and we are under new ownership in time for the January transfer window, because the way we're going at the moment, we have some decent players in the squad, but not enough. We've got a striker called Hosselu who...
You've already covered the fact that you don't like him.
Bless him, he tries, but he's terrible. We played Manchester United last weekend at Old Trafford. First half, we absolutely dominated them. We were 1-0 up until the last 5 minutes of the first half, where Paul Pogba just sort of went, "Oh yeah, I'm awesome," and just decimated us, and we ended up losing 4-1. But I mean,
4-1.
it was funny because there was a lot of debate after that game. I saw a lot of the comments in the a lot of the Newcastle fan pages that I saw saying, "Oh well, of course we're not going to compete with Man United. They spent 300 odd million on their squad," and it's just like, actually, the reason we lost that game wasn't because they spent 300 million on their squad. It's because they spent 90 million on one player who is just fucking quality, and he tore us apart
Yeah, but
on
one
his
player doesn't
first
make a
game.
team, though.
First game back from injury, he did in that game. If Paul Pogba wasn't back from injury in that game, I honestly think we might have actually nicked that win, because they had nothing in that first half, and it was only because Paul Pogba got them back into that game. He was that good in that game.
Well,
Yeah.
he's obviously worth that money, though.
Well, I don't think anyone's worth that money, but obviously they're willing to pay it, and they did pay it, and he came and is now showing exactly what he can do. So
Players like that, they get charged. They charge so much is because they make more money on the shirt sales.
yeah, exactly. That was one of the things, I think, when the Paul Pogba sale went through. They asked Zlatan Ibrahimovic about it,
Yeah.
and he said, "I don't really get a say in the financial things. I don't really care, because that money that they've bought, my shirt sales have already made back. So what do you think Pogba's are going to do?"
Especially if he keeps knocking in
Exactly.
however many goals he scores.
This
Yeah.
is why the guy's right at the top, because they've got such a large following.
Exactly.
It's why, like in combat, like in the world of combat sports, why Conor McGregor's risen to the top of the heap, because he's willing.
He makes them the most money, doesn't he?
He makes them the most money. I mean, he's his success rate. So he's only ever lost once in the UFC.
Yeah.
He's only ever lost once in a boxing match, where it's his first ever professional boxing match, and he is the biggest name by far in the UFC.
Yeah, it's like a common,
MMA.
I think it's quite a common misconception about athletes and sports stars as well, isn't it? That they make most of the money from the wages that they get paid by
No,
the various companies.
they
No,
do
it's not.
not.
It's by the sponsorship deals.
Sponsorship.
Yeah.
Well, he was sponsored by in that boxing match. He was sponsored by Versace, that was the shorts he wore. I think they were Versace shorts.
Yeah.
So he wore Versace shorts in a boxing match.
Well, it's like
you have to.
it's like Wayne Rooney when he was at Manchester United and he was getting paid £300,000 a week. Actually, obviously, tax and things that actually then
tax will fuck you up.
halves, doesn't
Yeah.
it? That halves down to 150,000. He was getting paid fucking shit tons by Adidas.
Yep.
I think it was that was sponsoring him.
Or Nike or Puma or any of the other sport athletic
Yeah.
brands.
And then he was in those really, really dodgy.
See the wine commercials.
The wine commercial. Did you see the
Oh,
one
yeah,
that
I
they did
did.
for
I did see
X-Men
it.
Apocalypse?
No.
If you ever get a chance, search Manchester United X-Men Apocalypse and just watch Wayne Rooney's acting in that. It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Is it the best, worst
Bless
thing
him.
you've seen?
Yeah, bless him. He's trying. You can tell he's trying. He's not an actor, but one of the best parts about it is how cringy it is when it starts talking about the other players, because they're like, oh, we need to fight Apocalypse. We need someone who's super fast. How about Anthony Martial, who plays on left wing for Manchester United? I was thinking more Quicksilver. Seriously. And they've dubbed over the voices of James McAvoy and who is it who plays Beast? Nicholas Hoult. They've dubbed the voices over, and they are the worst dubs you'll ever see. Yeah, if you do get a chance to go watch that video, do. It is fucking hilarious.
That's terrible.
It makes me think, like, who in the... Because I think it was Adidas that did it. I could be wrong. But who in that boarding room went, this will be a good idea?
Who approved that in that boardroom? When they showed, when they played it on the big screen, and they all turned back to look at the guy who made it, and they must have all went, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if one person went no, that shouldn't have left the fucking boardroom.
We need someone with super reflexes. How about David De Gea, who plays in goal for Manchester United? I was thinking more someone else.
I was more thinking the person who's genetically predisposed to be better at reacting than some fucking cunt who sits inside of two white posts.
The best bit is when it goes to Rooney.
I try to.
When it goes to Rooney, and it's just like, hi Wayne, hello Charles.
So he's talking to Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
Oh god.
But dubbed Professor Xavier. It's not actually James McAvoy.
Yeah, because they would never get James McAvoy
to agree to that.
I think James McAvoy is more likely to punch Wayne Rooney if he gets a chance. Interesting. So is that your football news?
Yeah, I'm going to end it on that.
Excellent.
Go watch that video.
Go watch that video, ladies and gents. Find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Hello, old friend.
Hello, Charles.
Wayne Rooney?
Wayne, we need you on the battlefield again.
Anything for the team. Apocalypse who?
What was it? Was there anything else you wanted to cover?
I'm trying to think. Oh, I could actually cover the Champions League. That was midweek.
Yeah, should go for it.
Manchester City won 1-0.
Oh shit, he's actually it. Oh, so Josh is showing us a photo of him in the actual advert.
Oh, let me have a look.
Turn it.
Terribly green screen.
Yeah, that's the one.
What?
Wow, that's terrible. He also looks tiny. His head is bigger than his body.
No, that's just normal.
That's just normal. Oh.
Leave our Wayne alone.
Bloody hell.
And he's been through a tough time.
Yeah, fucking drugs and getting stuff stolen. What a shame.
Don't think he does any drugs.
He probably does all the drugs.
No, he just does. Well, alcohol, I guess, is a drug. He drinks a lot of alcohol.
Oh, well, that makes me a little bit.
No, I don't think it's a problem. But for a professional footballer, shouldn't be drinking the amount of alcohol he does.
Well, fair enough.
I don't think he's an alcoholic. I think it's just he likes it. He likes alcohol now. His lifestyle, like we do.
Who was it that used to drink quite a lot?
George Best, Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah, a lot of them have alcohol problems.
Well, George Best is dead because of alcohol problems.
Well, didn't he get a liver transplant and then he just drank himself to death again?
Yep.
Wow, I think I was gangster.
Gaza, I feel really sorry for. Probably because
he's got mental health issues. He's got serious mental health issues.
I'm quite close to his story because obviously he used to play for Newcastle. He's a big Newcastle United fan. But it's one of those things with Gaza. I think he tries to get himself better. He just quite often falls off the wagon, and it's just it's quite tragic when you see him, because sometimes you see him on TV shows doing interviews and things, and he looks great, and then you'll see him in another one a couple of weeks later, and it's like he looks terrible again. But I think one of the things about it was just like a lot of his family came out and just went, yeah, but when you see him like that, just leave him alone. Just let him try and get on with it. Like, we all know he's got his demons. When he's bad, don't plaster it over a newspaper saying, back on it again.
That's how they make money, though.
I know, but I
mean, that's the tabloid.
That's the shit world we live in, isn't it?
That's how tabloid news makes money, mate. Is they get those sales so you can read that stuff. But in all honesty, I don't believe that that's really the best way of actually doing this anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So what happened in the Champions League?
Yeah, so Manchester City won 1-0. So I think they're through. Chelsea won. I think they're through to the knockout stages.
Didn't Liverpool?
Manchester United just needed a point to go through to the last 16. They lost 1-0 in a game that they totally dominated against Basel.
Oh, they had loads of missed shots, didn't they? Loads of missed shots on goal.
Yeah, they should have been about 4-0 up in that first half. But it's quite an interesting fact because Basel haven't lost to an English side at home.
I like their new kit. Their away kit is quite nice.
Oh, what, Manchester United's?
Yeah, that's silver.
That's actually the third kit.
Oh, because they weren't allowed to wear that. That's interesting. I like that third kit then.
I think you have to. I think you have to have I don't know how it works
4
actually,
kits,
but
something like
well, I think it's 3 kits. That's your standard, and I think you have to use the away kit and the third kit a certain amount of times throughout the season.
I quite like that.
It is quite a nice.
It's a
kit,
nice
actually.
looking kit. Yeah, I like it.
Say it's Manu, but
Yeah, I'm not saying it's man. I'm just saying it looked nice.
yeah, it's got the little stadium and the statue that they have like embroidered into it.
Oh, that's quite a nice
It's
feature.
quite a nice touch. But yeah, they lost 1-0 to Basel, so they need to get something out of their last 16 game. Their last game in the group stages, but they're essentially through anyway. Tottenham won 2-1 against Dortmund at Dortmund, which was quite impressive.
That
They've
is
done
impressive.
actually very well in the Champions League this season.
Are they focusing on that, do you think, rather than the Premiership?
No, I think they're focusing on both. I just think,
interesting.
They've been in the Champions League for the past 2 seasons, but they've been knocked out quite early. And I think it's just a case of they're finally getting used to it. Sort of like Man City. Man City, they were in the Champions League, but they've never really done well. But now they're starting to look like a team that belongs there. I think it might have just been a bit of nerves, like thinking, whoa, we're amongst the big boys now.
Yeah.
Whereas teams like Man United and Chelsea and normally Arsenal
Yeah.
can go quite far because they're used to that competition. These teams now are coming through and sort of learning what it's like to play
make some
amongst
better
the best.
players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make some better players.
Liverpool,
I saw this on the Lad Bible where they
They-
managed to score 2 identical goals in that game.
they were 3-0 up in the first half
Fucking hell.
and they ended up drawing 3-3.
And didn't they end up losing on aggregate or something like that?
No, I think the first game finished 2-2 between them, but it doesn't matter. It's in the group stages, so aggregate doesn't really count.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so
That's terrible.
that was funny.
I saw the celebration by, was it Seville?
Sevilla.
They, I saw the celebration. The fucking crowd went mental.
Yep,
all the
absolutely.
team went mental. All the coaches, everyone just fucking. As soon as they ended,
Yeah.
have been launched up off the pitch. And I was
But
like, Jesus Christ!
It goes back to this whole thing that I've been saying out before the season started. Liverpool don't have a defence. Their defence is fucking shocking, and Jurgen Klopp has not addressed that, and he needs to address that in the next couple of transfer windows. Otherwise, I don't see him holding on to his job.
That's fair
Quite
enough.
simply.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I mean, they've obviously got
he's
a
a great
great
manager. He needs to admit that there is a problem with the defence that he's got, and he needs to address it
There's
very,
obvious-
very fast.
But he obviously knows how to make a good attacking team if they can
Yeah,
score
yeah,
3 goals
absolutely.
in the first half. It's just that he doesn't know. He doesn't have a good. Maybe they need a better defensive
it's
coach.
Funny actually, because there was a very, very interesting statistics earlier on in the season. Everyone talking about how great Liverpool's attack was, and when you actually watch them, yeah, they look threatening every time they're on the ball going forward. They look very, very threatening.
Yeah.
They've got very, very pacey players. But there was an interesting statistic that came out earlier on in the season. It's probably not the case anymore because they have scored more goals since then. But it was something like Liverpool have only scored 6 goals in their last 6 games after having 30 or 40 odd shots. And it was
Not
like
30 or 40. Surely it can't be that many. Well, that's
across 6 games.
Maybe
probably more. And it was like
maybe that's the style they're going for. Yeah, but it might be the style they're going for of going for
bombard the
high
goal.
output. Yeah, go for
bombard the
high
goal,
output.
eventually it'll go in. But yeah, I think that's what Jurgen Klopp has to do. He really does have to address his defensive issues.
Well, hopefully they can, because I like a competitive game. Competitive games are better rather than just. But I do I'd prefer it when there's like a high score.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's
I kind of like the
3-3.
games where it's like 3-3.
Or like when Liverpool came back in the Champions League, 5 goals and managed to get to penalties.
that was also 3-3.
Was it 3? Sorry, I apologise.
Yeah.
But they managed to claw back and be able to. That's
and they
exciting.
won that penalty, Istanbul 2005.
That's an exciting thing to see.
And then the one last thing that I will mention, because it is absolutely hilarious, Celtic, who played PSG.
Got their asses handed to them.
Yep, 7-1. And it's funny because Celtic
They scored 1 goal at least.
they did in the first minute, which fucked up my accumulator. Thanks, Celtic, because I had PSG to win to 0, and they scored.
Really?
Celtic scored in the first minute of the game.
First minute, it's
First
insane.
minute, which fucked
And then
my bet up.
PSG got really pissed off.
And they won 7-1.
7 nicks.
And
7.
every other result in that accumulator came in for me. So,
Oh.
that accumulator was over
How
in
much
the
would that
first
have won
minute.
you?
It was only about 50 quid.
He would have won you 50 quid.
Yeah.
Oh,
from a
that's not that much,
from a
actually.
£5 bet.
That's a shit
So-
accumulator.
Pardon?
That's a shit accumulator.
Depends on the odds.
That's a terrible accumulator.
Not really.
How many teams were in it?
50 quid from
50
£5.
quid.
That's decent.
How many teams?
5. I always do like a mass 20 game accumulator bet off by putting a quid on, which returns something like £250,000, which is never.
If you ever got that, you'd just be like,
the closest I came was a £1 bet, 23 teams, 16 grand. This was before the days of cash out.
mm-hmm.
And all of my bets had come in, and the last game on the weekend was Arsenal versus Fulham at the Emirates, and Arsenal were 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go, and they lost 2-1.
Oh,
16 grand.
If you could have cashed out,
If I could have cashed out, I would have cashed out. I was fucking gutted.
I would be
absolutely
gutted.
gutted.
Been gutted for that.
But yeah, the funny thing about that, the Celtic defeat, is that they are undefeated in the Scottish League for like 2 seasons now. Yeah. So it just goes to show the terrible standard
I was
of
about
Scottish
to say,
football.
Like, who are they playing against?
Exactly.
Are Rangers even in this?
Yeah.
Are they still up there?
Yeah, they're back up there now. They did get relegated. They went through a lot of trouble because they were part owned by Mike Ashley.
Oh, right.
And he fucked them almost as bad as he fucked Newcastle. Well, worse actually probably than he fucked Newcastle, because they went into a tremendous amount of debt.
Fair enough.
And that's how they actually went down. So sorry, Scottish football fans, but the league is fucking terrible. But then again, I know quite a lot of Scottish people who are one of the guys from work supports Rangers, big Rangers fan. Even he goes, Scottish football's fucking terrible, and it's games like that just shows how embarrassing it is.
7-1 against PSG.
7-1 against PSG.
Hell.
I mean, PSG are a good team.
You know why that is though? It's because there's like it's off canter at the top. The top what's the word? Teams in the world are absolutely blitz everyone else because they get the most money, the most sponsors, and the best players. So comparing them to Celtic in that league is
bring your microphone
closer
to your face, mate.
No, they can hear that. I'm loud. So
I bet they can't. That's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good.
Got to have good microphone standards, ladies and gents. Got to make sure everyone can hear us.
So
football.
That's the football. Hope you enjoyed it.
Shall we move over to the world of combat sports?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so first bit I'm going to go for is the announcement of the Bellator Heavyweight Grand-Prix. So basically they're doing it old school Pride style, where they're for the vacant heavyweight title with Bellator is up for grabs, and they're going to be having an 8-man tournament. Not on the same night. It's going to be staged basically over 2018. So from the end of this year until December 2018. Now, I'm going to give you the list of people who are in it. It is Quinton Rampage Jackson.
Seriously?
Versus Chael Sonnen. Fedor Emelianenko versus Frank Mir.
What is this, like all the old school players from...
Matt Mitrione versus Roy Nelson. And then Ryan Bader versus Mohammed King Mo Lowell. So
King Mo, I love that.
King Mo, I do quite like his thing.
That's crazy. That is
they've
the
got
roster of UFC.
So they blasted out on their Twitter on the 23rd of November, and yeah, it is the who's who of some of the best heavyweights of all time, arguably the best of the heavyweights of all time. There's a little picture of it. So the first match that people are going for to get the buy-in straight away is the hypothesis is Frank Mir versus Fedor Emelianenko. So that would be the first.
Fedor will get him.
I don't know about that, but anyway. So I'm going to give you my early prediction of who I think will win the Heavyweight Grand Prix. Just straight away, I think it's probably going to be Matt Mitrione.
Matt Mitrione, the Ultimate Fighter, that Italian.
So
dude. No,
Matt Mitrione. The reason why is he's beaten Fedor Emelianenko in Bellator already.
Seriously?
Yeah, he knocked him out. So they had a fight. They both.
Fedor Emelianenko should have stopped fighting when he
should have stopped. When he fought Fabio Maldonado in Russia, and he almost died in the ring because the referee wouldn't stop it, even though Fabio had completely beaten him. But the referee was Russian, and in Russia you die. If you're Fedor Emelianenko, you die. They weren't going to let him die. When Vladimir Putin has turned up to your fucking event and is watching you fight, you are dying.
Was that event?
Yeah, he almost died. Like, he I thought he was going to be like completely, that was it, and he'd have the worst concussion known to man. But I genuinely think that Matt Mitrione could win because he's fast as fuck, he's awkward as fuck, and he's exceptionally heavy hitter. So if you can knock Fedor Emelianenko out,
Sonnen now.
Chael is, I'd say he's younger than like who he's fighting Rampage, but he's not. I mean, he used to compete at middleweight.
Yeah, he's not.
And then he went up to light heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight.
Light
but so like I'll go for the people who are light heavyweights on this roster: Chael Sonnen and Mohammed King Low. King Mo, and Ryan Bader. They're all light heavyweights. Chael Sonnen is possibly the smallest because he used to compete at middleweight, where he fought Anderson Silva in the UFC. I also would say that Rampage Jackson used to compete at light heavyweight as well, but now he's in the heavyweight division. But King Mo beat Rampage Jackson in Bellator, so I'd say I don't think Rampage has got as much of a chance in comparison. Again, in the first, now to go through the first rounds, who I think will win each fight. So Fedor Emelianenko versus Frank Mir. I believe it'll be Frank Mir by a submission, because Frank Mir is a deadly black belt on the ground. Now I do think Fedor, Nogueira, and Tim Sylvia.
I'm talking about the former wrestler. I always forget the name of.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
but Brock Lesnar came back and fucked him up.
Yeah, he got really angry about that.
So I'd say Frank Mir, even when he's concussed, even when he's been knocked down, which I think Fedor probably will end up knocking him down and getting on top of him, I think that Frank Mir will pull off a fucking insane submission. So that's my early wildcard prediction. Also, Frank Mir's boxing is quite good. He's knocked out Nogueira before. The fight between Rampage and Chael Sonnen, I think it's going to go to Rampage just because of Rampage being a bigger guy and he has a lot better punching power. So I think that's going to be a knockout.
Because Chael Sonnen's best thing is he's a really good wrestler.
Really good wrestling. He's been trying to do jiu-jitsu more and more, but that's always been a problem for him anyway. But I would say it would be a knockout win for Rampage or a TKO. Then you've got Matt Mitrione versus Roy Nelson. I think this is going to be a Matt Mitrione win, and I think it's not even going to be a contest. I think that Matt Mitrione is going to outclass him and probably decision.
Roy Nelson.
Yeah, Country Roy Nelson. I don't because Country Roy Nelson hasn't done very well in Bellator. He's won, but he's not.
Has he lost some weight? How much is he saying?
He's still the same. He's still the same. Yeah, he's still belly rub.
Has he been knocked out yet? Because he had an iron chin.
He has been knocked out by Mark Hunt in the UFC. But Mark Hunt's the killer when it comes. You mean he knocks out everyone?
He knocks out everyone. Yeah.
You get hit by Mark Hunt, you're dead.
He's Maori, isn't he?
And he is from Australia, or is he from New Zealand?
New Zealand,
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So he's got that kind of Southeast Islander kind of DNA, which basically means you've got a very thick neck and a chin made of granite.
Yeah.
Sorry, Simon. Mark what?
Hunt. Mark Hunt.
Mark Hunt.
Are you making a joke about cunt?
Yes, I am.
Cool.
Okay.
And then the last one of the preliminary fights will be Bader.
That doesn't even work because it's Mike.
Yeah.
Mike Hunt. Not Mark.
Then the last one, of the four initial fights is Bader versus King Mo. I would say Bader would win that because he's currently the light heavyweight champion of Bellator. So I would, and he recently beat Phil Davis. Phil Davis, who's possibly one of the best wrestlers of the light heavyweight division that's ever graced the planet. I would say he would win. And Ryan Bader has very good knockout power as well in both hands. And I'd say King Mo's best assets is wrestling, but I'd say Ryan Bader's a better wrestler. So to bring that to the semi-finals of my predictions, it would then be Rampage versus Frank Mir. I'd say Frank Mir would get through Rampage, just because of the superior wrestling and jiu-jitsu. To then go from Matt Mitrione to Ryan Bader, I think that would be the closest of all fights, in all honesty. So I would say Matt Mitrione would edge it against Bader, because Matt Mitrione is a heavyweight and Bader is a light heavyweight. I think it would just be edged.
Are they completely forgetting the weight classes in this one?
I just think if they can make the heavyweight limit, no one cares. I'll go to this.
205 and above.
No, it's
220.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's basically as long as you're above 200 and something, 220, it's okay. But then that would mean the final would be between Frank Mir and Matt Mitrione, and I genuinely think Matt Mitrione would win against Frank Mir.
I don't like him ever since I saw him on The Ultimate Fighter, and he's
changed. So he deliberately did that personality to make sure he was a personality, so people would know who he was after The Ultimate Fighter. But he's a changed. You watch him now in Bellator and watch all his promos. He's a very consummate professional. I'll show you the link of the podcast he did.
That's always the thing that I remember.
There's a podcast with his fellow housemate of The Ultimate Fighter, Brendan Schaub, who used to be a UFC heavyweight. He had an interview with him on his podcast, and he talks totally different. He used to be nicknamed the Meathead, and he used to act like a meathead, but he's not a meathead whatsoever. He used to play American football. He's a very smart lad, a very smart guy. Now, alternates for the Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix. 2 people have said they want to be alternates for it. The first one to announce it was Rory McDonald. Rory McDonald, who is a former UFC welterweight has asked to be in the heavyweight Grand Prix. That's how gangster Rory McDonald is. But Rory McDonald is possibly one of the greatest welterweights of all time, of any promotion. He's a George St. Pierre's training partner. He is an absolute killer when it comes to any form of mixed martial arts. Striking, wrestling, submissions. He's an absolute killer when it comes to it. And also, he has that mentality of he's going to hurt you. He wants to hurt you. He's fighting Douglas Lima for the welterweight title soon. We'll see how that goes. I think he probably will take it from Douglas Lima unless Douglas Lima knocks him out, which I don't think is going to happen. But that's one alternate. Another alternate, you might remember this guy, Shane Carwin. Remember Shane Carwin, who Brock Lesnar had a big beef with?
Oh,
Shane Carwin.
Was he bald?
He had receding hairline, bit of a kind of goatee going on.
Yeah,
big white guy, big white,
big.
and he had hands the size of fucking
He was
Christmas
a big dude,
turkeys.
yeah.
He wore the largest UFC gloves.
Right.
So the largest UFC gloves, which is like a 5XXL or something like that. Giant gloves. He has giant hands. Very good knockout power. He's former training partner of Brendan Schaub.
Yeah, I can't remember if he beat. I don't think he beat.
He didn't beat Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar beat him, but he almost knocked out Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he's
almost knocked him out clean. And then Brock Lesnar came back and arm triangled him.
Past that, yeah.
So Shane Carwin is in negotiations to be an alternate for if anyone gets injured, which I think it's a good idea because I think the world of boxing has the alternate system going on, but the world of mixed martial arts doesn't really. So I think there needs to be a better alternate system going on. So you could prospectively see Rory McDonald in the heavyweight champ. No, I don't think that's going to happen legitimately, but I wouldn't be mad if I saw it because I think he'd fuck up. I think he'd fuck up like a Chael Sonnen. I think he'd fuck Chael Sonnen up. Not saying that Chael Sonnen's bad. I'm just saying that's the standard that I would say Rory McDonald's
What's the
is.
difference in size? Like 60 pounds.
I'd say because he's quite a big welterweight because he could compete at middleweight quite easily.
Okay.
So I'd say let's say 20 to 40 pounds because he cuts quite a lot of weight. Does Rory McDonald?
It depends if it's jiu-jitsu and stuff like that.
But he's an insane striker. He's a very good striker as well. Like I don't know. This is the thing. Like I genuinely because it's Rory McDonald.
If it
wasn't another welterweight, even if it was GSP, I'd say GSP wouldn't do it.
Take Pride for example, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You know when Bas Rutten, is it Bas?
Yeah, Bas Rutten.
It's Bas. Bas Rutten was fighting in Pride. He was basically fighting people that were like 60 pounds heavier than him.
Yeah, it was insane.
There was like how many rounds? One. How long?
There's two. So there's two in Pride. One of them was 10 minutes, and then the other one was 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they didn't judge it on the 10-point must system that they have in boxing. In the UFC, they have the similar system, but they've altered it a little bit to make it better. But in all honesty, there shouldn't be that system in place. It should just in Pride they used to just go, who won the fight, and then they just do like they just write a name down. That's all they used to do. They didn't.
Not the point system.
There's no point system, which I prefer. So yeah, Bellator. Absolutely killing the game, going back to old school style.
I like that. I'm gonna start watching more Bellator now because
I'd recommend it. It's free on. So if you have like Sky or Freeview, I'm not sure actually. You can on Spike. You can get Spike UK and it's free, or you can pay for the pay-per-views. So I thoroughly recommend watching Bellator this coming year, 100%. Moving over to the world of boxing, 2 announcements for boxing. So I'll go for the first one. George Groves and Chris Eubank Jr. has been announced for the fight in Manchester. It's been confirmed for the World Super Series of Boxing. It's the semi-final of the World Super Series of Boxing in the super middleweight category. George Groves comes with a fantastic boxing pedigree. He has defeated the likes of Carl Froch. Did he beat?
No, Carl Froch beat him both times.
Beat him both times, sorry. So, Carl Froch is one of the best British boxers.
Yeah,
that weight category.
In the second one, Groves was very, very much on top. It was just that one punch.
Did he knock him out? Did he? Yeah,
he knocked him out both times.
Fucking hell, Carl Froch is a killer when you think about it.
That was the thing about Carl Froch, though. He wasn't the best boxer. He was just an hard bastard who could take a punch and then beat the fuck out of someone else.
Just dropped a hammer on somebody. Yeah. Well, he's a very, very, very good boxer.
Yeah, George Groves is a very, very good technical.
But then you've got the young gun, Chris Eubank Jr., who almost killed a guy in the ring.
Yep.
He almost did what his dad did.
Yeah.
Where Chris Eubank Sr. did kill someone in the ring.
Must be something in the genes with that family.
Well, I think they genuinely have got this weird sort of just this genetic makeup that just makes them very the propensity towards extreme violence, then be very good at it.
Because you never, it's rare to find like the father, for example, is a great athlete, and then it follows on to the
Look at Nigel Benn and Conor Benn. Do you see Conor Benn's won again? In stoppage again with a body shot.
Yep.
So Conor Benn, so
you know
Nigel
you've hurt
Benn,
someone when you stop it with a body shot.
yeah, is a proper liver shot.
It's just a real shame
Vicious.
that Conor Benn and Eubank Jr. don't fight in the same weight category, because that would have been a great. That would have made, that would have made Eddie Hearn. I think it's Eddie Hearn.
Eddie Hearn,
who does Conor Benn.
Yes,
yeah,
because he's not.
That would have made Eddie Hearn
Eubank is managed by Hearn.
a lot of money. No, Eubank is just.
Is he self-managed?
Self-promoted?
Or his dad does it?
Yeah.
I think his dad does it, actually. Owns the
so
Eubank.
they sort of both.
Yeah, it's a good idea, though.
Which is the way you make the most money, and if you're a family name,
That's how
people
Floyd
are
does
gonna
it.
still.
That's how David Hayes doing that. I'll come to David Hayes news as well.
But I do think Eubank Jr. wins that fight.
Yeah, I think so, because I think he's got the technical ability, and also he has that nasty streak
and
in the ring.
A fucking powerhouse, isn't
and
he?
he's got the athletic ability.
Yeah.
I watch him on Snapchat all the fucking time. I genuinely believe it could be. It's either going to be an absolute working for the full championship rounds, so I mean like proper, he puts it on Groves, or it's going to be a stoppage. And I'm not shitting on Groves.
Groves is a very
good boxer.
Yeah, I just don't think he has what it takes to I don't think there are many people out there that could take Eubank Jr. down.
I think the only way I think you can beat Eubank Jr. is to stop him.
Yeah.
You put him down. And I don't know, it's in the super middleweight category. I don't know who has the most punching power to knock him out. I'd say, arguably, the only person who could knock Chris Eubank Jr. out is Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
Because he's got vicious power in his both hands. And he can, I've seen him switch stance, so he goes from southpaw to orthodox very easily. He hits with both his left and his right. I would say arguably equal power, but probably because he's right-handed, it's going to be his right hand that's his main powerhouse. But he's also got varied stoppages of body shots, of head shots, of referee stoppages.
So you basically don't know where it's coming from.
He's got that toolkit. Exactly. It's very difficult.
He'll go to southpaw, switch to orthodox. He'll switch stance, switch from jab one side. He'll do all sorts.
His jab is fucking vicious.
Yeah.
He does the John Wayne. So John Wayne Parr is a Muay Thai fighter, multiple world time Muay Thai fighter. He has this style with people who are watching will see this, but for people who are listening, in the guard, when he pistons out a jab, you notice how this hand stays here. Well, with John Wayne Parr, he does this where his other arm arches back, so he can get full extension on the shoulder. So that his shoulder and extra leverage because he's doing the counter movement.
He's pivoting as well.
Because he's not just putting the force of this going forwards. It's his right hand is coming back, so it's more vicious. Yes, it leaves you more open to a counter left hook. However, that straight in the face, full blast. And that's what I've seen Chris Eubank Jr. do. He has a tight guard normally, but occasionally he does a very stiff, stinging jab. And it cracks someone in the face, and they then go, oh, fuck. And they have to recalculate, because then they go, okay, at first, because most boxing, it's the jab just leads, so they do a lot of tapping jabs, a lot of ones to interrupt, a lot of ones to set the distance.
Yeah.
But then when you crack someone with a stiff jab, they then go, well, I have to reset entirely, and then I have to rethink about your jab, because you might hit me with a very hard jab, randomly.
I have to stay away from that.
I have to stay away from
that.
I now have to worry about the slip.
Yeah.
And then when he worries about the slip, and you're thinking about slipping the jab, you're normally going to crouch down towards one of the hands. So then Chris Eubank Jr. obviously watches which way you crouch down, or which way you slip to. If you slip to the left, he'll counter with the right. If you slip to the right, he'll counter with his left. Because then you move into the range of both of them. And that's why I'm saying he has the gift he has is that he's not just a right-handed puncher or just a left-handed puncher. He's in both. So he can hit you with a long left hook, or he can hit you with a straight right, straight after you've slipped the jab. And I see that drill. He drills that all the time. And also vicious body shots, which he drills all the time. I'm very much looking forward to that. But I would love to see George Groves give him a run for his money.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to see George Groves go full bore technical, or full bore, I'm not going to let this go 12 rounds. This is only going to stay within a certain amount of rounds, and try to go after Chris Eubank Jr. Not to say I don't want either one to win per se. I want to see a brilliant spectacle from two of the best British boxers that possibly are out there right now. So I'd love to see that. So that's the Chris Eubank Jr. George Groves fight in Manchester, February 17th. Do you know what arena that's in? It's in the Manchester Arena. Could you just have a quick look for us, Josh? Then the other boxing news is the Tony Bellew David Haye fight has been rescheduled because of an injury that David Haye.
Rescheduled or just called off?
So they're going to reschedule it hopefully for February.
Okay.
I think that's the February or March. Basically, what I saw on his Instagram, and I immediately was
It's at Manchester Arena.
It's the Manchester Arena, February 17th for Chris Eubank Jr. And George Groves.
I kind of want to go to that, but it's really fortune.
So for the people, I've already said this. You can go for the ticket. The tickets haven't been released. They'll be released on the 28th of November.
Mm-hmm.
I've set up an email alert for myself. So go to worldsuperseriesboxing.com and you can set up an email alert for yourself. So it will send you an email saying that they're live, and it will be before it goes live to the general public. So then you can click on it and order it, and then you could get there might be some decent deals going on. So I'll have a look at it and see what the prices are, and I'll let everybody know, because Manchester isn't too far for us.
Exactly, yeah.
And I was thinking, me and Sam, before you came, we were like, oh, maybe we should like make a day of it and like invite people to go.
That'd be nice, yeah.
Like, we'll go through to Manchester and have like a nice weekend in February.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting thing to do, and cover the fight, obviously.
Yeah.
But back to Bellew Haye, basically what happened was the Instagram story, Haye was doing some conditioning training on stairs, so like not on running up and down stairs, but like the stair trainer, which basically is like a treadmill but with stairs on it. He was doing that, and apparently he lost his footing. When he lost his footing, he tried to grab out onto the handle, and he must have tweaked himself, and he basically ripped his bicep. So the actual, I think it's the muscle was damaged.
For such a good fighter, he is like...
He's very injury prone.
Very injury
He is very injury prone. So basically, and then he did another
He's got really tight hamstrings and like doesn't like...
Well, I don't know. I don't know
like
about his arm, because it's not your hamstring in there. He has torn his hamstring.
Sorry, hamstring, but like in general, your ligaments, if they're very short...
They might be. I mean, he's not as young as he used to be.
Tear very easily.
And he's a heavyweight, so he's going to bear a lot of damage from other heavyweights.
It's one of those weird things. Whenever you do see that David Haye has an injury, you're sometimes very skeptical about.
He's not fucking.
No, but then I saw the picture and the bruises down his arm.
They had to do. They did surgery to get it all reattached. But then the doctor was like, "You can't fight. You legit can't. You won't be able to use your arm for a long time." So he's in a sling, but he's repairing obviously the muscle. But then he was still
going to be good till February, because he needs to get back and then get the muscle back.
He apologised. So he's very gentlemanly, which I will praise David Haye for. He apologised to Tony Bellew and his team. He was like, "I'm very sorry about this. Wasn't obviously not deliberate." So he's like, "I completely apologise. We were meant to face each other again like men in the ring. I've not been able to give you that opportunity, Tony. I apologise. Want to see you in February or March." And Tony Bellew replied and was just like, "Look, accidents happen. That's the way it is. I'm not happy that it's obviously getting rescheduled, because I put a lot of training in, but this is how it is." So they both have been very respectful, which is very rare normally to see in the world of competitive combat sports.
Yeah, it really is, to be fair.
But I think that's going to be possibly one. And the annoying bit as well is Joe Joyce, who I'd covered previously on the podcast, who's another heavyweight in boxing. He's had his fight rescheduled as well.
Yep.
Because he was on the undercard, because he's of Haymaker Promotions.
Yeah.
So David Haye has his own promotion, so he's making all the money now. No money goes to a third party, really.
Yeah, but he really needs to focus on making sure it's better.
He needs to. Yeah, well, I think this. If he loses this fight, he should retire.
Yeah.
If he doesn't lose this fight, if he wins this fight, he should retire. Go out. I think he should go out in a shield, so to speak. I don't want him actually to get hurt. But I'd like to see him just put it all in and then focus on being possibly the best British
they never know how to pack
boxing promoter.
No,
that's true.
How many times has he said he wants to retire? Like David Haye after every fight.
I think he said he wanted to retire after he won the cruiserweight, because he's undefeated at cruiserweight.
After Klitschko, he said he wanted to retire.
Yeah, I think it's been in his pocket, but then he's just made his own promotion and he's trying to make a go of it. And I think Joe Joyce will be the next person to bring up the mantle of British boxing.
Do you think he just gets bored and doesn't want to do anything else? So he's like,
I think there's a part of that. He's a very successful man when you think about it. He's a very successful man.
Well, like, he doesn't need to work. That's it. Now he's not.
He's made the money he needs to make.
He's not known to be very. He's not like Mayweather, which he's going to burn for his cash in about 5 years, and he has to fight someone else.
Yes, I'd agree with you. I completely do agree with you. So I'm looking forward to when that is announced again, and Joe Joyce will be on that card as well, which would be good. So that is the world, realistically, of combat sports, and No. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a good end of year. I think the end of year cards will be interesting. with MMA and the world of boxing. But I also think next year, with all these announcements going on, could be another brilliant year. And I think it's going to be a brilliant year for British combat sports.
Yeah.
For the world of mixed martial arts and the world of boxing. I think there's going to be some very good events that's going to happen. Yeah. So I think that's... should we round up this podcast, ladies?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That sounds good.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
So this has been the Gentleman's Debate podcast.
Episode 20.
Episode 20. We've made it to the beautiful 20s. It's all downhill now, really, from here. No, I'm joking. But we will look to get another interview sorted out as soon as possible, as a lot of you guys seem to enjoy the Jay Furness interview. Loads of people, actually. Very surprised, especially on YouTube. So we will get back to you with that. We'll let you know with our social medias. Our social medias are blowing up as well. We're getting more and more followers, which I'm very happy with.
Excellent.
So please follow us on our Facebook, which is the Gentleman's Debate Podcast, the Twitter, which is @TGD_podcast, and the Instagram, which is the Gentleman's Debate Podcast. And then also we'd like to do another shout out for our good friend Joshua, who's the man behind the cameras, the man behind the microphones mixer, who has been recording us. So if you need any videography work, photography work, or you'd like to film some low-budget porn, then please hit up our good man Joshua Simpson at York
If we
Video
say
Pro.
it enough, people will start to believe it.
Yeah, we're going to get you into the porn industry, whether you like it or not.
Two shameless
He
plugs
can
in
do.
one
He can
episode.
film with one hand.
Yeah,
don't
what's
worry about it.
what's your website again, mate?
York Video Production.
You can film no-handed.
Sorry,
York
can you say
Video-
that again, please, Josh?
Yeah.
So my website is yorkvideoproduction.co.uk.
.co.uk, ladies and gentlemen. So hit him up if you need any of that work done in the local area, or if you're willing to pay for his travel. So this has been the Gentleman's Debate podcast number 20. We'll see you later, motherfuckers. Bye, bye.
Guys.
Bloody hell.